The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for over 12,000 years. They believed themselves to be the supreme powers of the universe. The tall beings with silver skin and 6 eyes controlled most of the trade routes. The Empire, massive reptilian warriors with scales harder than steel, dominated military strength. The creatures of pure psychic energy held all the knowledge of a million worlds. Together, these three species had created laws that every civilization had to follow. No one had ever challenged them. No one had ever dared to speak against their rule. That was until they discovered Earth. Earth was a small blue planet on the outer edge of an unremarkable galaxy. The Council's scouts had found it by accident. When they scanned the planet, they laughed at what they saw. The humans were primitive. They had only recently discovered space travel. Their ships were slow and weak. Their weapons were ancient compared to galactic standards. The scouts reported back that Earth posed no threat at all. The Council decided to send an ambassador to inform the humans that their planet now belonged to the Galactic Council. They expected the humans to bow down immediately. They expected surrender without a single shot being fired. Ambassador of the arrived on Earth with a fleet of 50 warships. He landed in the capital city and demanded to meet with Earth's leaders. The humans gathered their presidents, prime ministers, and generals. They listened as explained the situation. Earth would provide resources to the Council. Humans would serve as workers in the galactic mines. Any resistance would be crushed without mercy. Smiled with all three of his mouths as he delivered this message. He was certain the humans would agree immediately. But something unexpected happened. A human general named Stone stood up from his chair. He was an old man with gray hair and scars on his face from countless battles. He looked directly at and spoke in a calm voice. He told the ambassador that Earth would not surrender. He explained that humans had fought wars for thousands of years. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters that should have destroyed them. He warned that if the Council tried to take Earth by force, they would face consequences they could not imagine. The room went silent, stared at the old general with disbelief. No species had ever refused the Council before. Laughed loudly and called General Stone a fool. He said the Council's armies had conquered thousands of worlds. He said Earth's military was like insects compared to their power. He gave the humans one final chance to surrender. General Stone simply shook his head and repeated his warning. Earth would defend itself. The Council would regret this decision. Left the planet in anger. He reported to the Council that the humans had refused to submit. The Council members were amused by this news. They decided to send a small invasion force to teach Earth a lesson. They thought it would take only a few days to conquer the planet. The invasion force consisted of 200 warships and 50,000 ground soldiers. Commander led the assault. He was one of the most decorated warriors in the Empire. He had never lost a battle in 300 years of service. As his fleet approached Earth, he scanned the planet's defenses. He saw nothing impressive. A few satellites, some orbital stations, and a handful of human ships. He ordered his fleet to begin the attack. The ships fired their plasma cannons at Earth's orbital defenses. The stations exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Commander smiled. This would be the easiest conquest of his career. Then the humans revealed their first surprise. From hidden bunkers across the planet, thousands of missiles launched into space. These were not ordinary missiles. Humans had spent decades preparing for the possibility of alien invasion. They had developed weapons specifically designed to fight enemies from the stars. The missiles moved faster than anything they had ever seen. They changed direction unpredictably, making them impossible to shoot down. Within minutes, 30 ships were destroyed. Commander's smile disappeared. He ordered his fleet to retreat to a safe distance. The Council received news of the failed attack with shock. They had lost 30 warships to a primitive species. This was unacceptable. They decided to send a much larger force. This time they would not underestimate the humans. 5,000 warships from all three species gathered at the edge of Earth's solar system. It was the largest fleet assembled in over 1,000 years. Admiral of the took command. He used his psychic abilities to scan the human defenses. He sensed something strange. The humans were not afraid. They were waiting. They were prepared. The admiral dismissed this feeling as irrelevant. Numbers would decide this battle, and the council had overwhelming numbers. The massive fleet advanced toward Earth. Human ships came out to meet them. There were only 300 human vessels. They were small and ugly compared to the elegant council ships. Admiral ordered his fleet to destroy them quickly. The battle began with thousands of plasma beams crossing the darkness of space. Human ships exploded one after another. But for every human ship that fell, 10 more appeared from behind Earth's moon. The humans had hidden most of their fleet. They had been building ships in secret for years. Within hours, the battle turned into chaos. Human tactics confused the council forces. They attacked in small groups, hitting weak points and then retreating. They used asteroids and debris as shields. They fought with a ferocity that the council had never witnessed before. General Stone watched the battle from Earth's command center. He gave orders calmly and precisely. He had studied warfare his entire life. He understood that victory did not always go to the strongest. It went to the most determined and the most willing to sacrifice everything. He ordered his ships to focus their attacks on the command vessel. If they could kill Admiral, the enemy fleet would lose coordination. A squad of human pilots volunteered for the mission. They knew it would likely cost them their lives. They flew their ships directly toward the Admiral's vessel, weaving through enemy fire. Only 3 pilots survived long enough to reach their target. They crashed their ships into the vessel's engines. The explosion tore the ship apart. Admiral died instantly. Without their commander's psychic coordination, the Council fleet fell into confusion. Ships began firing on each other by accident. Captains argued about who should take command. The humans seized this opportunity. They attacked with everything they had. Human weapons tore through Council ships. Human soldiers boarded enemy vessels and fought hand-to-hand against warriors. The reptilian soldiers discovered something terrifying that day. Humans refused to die easily. They kept fighting even when wounded. They sacrificed themselves to protect their comrades. They showed no fear, only determination. By the end of the battle, over half the Council fleet was destroyed. The remaining ships fled back to Council space. Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. For the first time in their long history, they felt afraid. The humans had defeated their greatest fleet. How was this possible? They brought scientists and strategists to analyze the battle. The answer was disturbing. Humans had evolved on a death world. Earth was far more dangerous than any other inhabited planet. Its gravity was crushing. Its climate was extreme. Its wildlife was deadly. The bacteria alone could kill most alien species within days. Humans had survived this world by becoming incredibly adaptable and resilient. They could recover from injuries that would kill any other species. They could survive in conditions that would destroy entire armies. They were born warriors because their planet had forced them to be. The Council made a fatal decision. They refused to negotiate with Earth. Instead, they decided to use their ultimate weapon. It was called the Star Breaker, an ancient device capable of causing a sun to explode. They would destroy Earth's sun and let the humans freeze in the darkness of space. The weapon was located on a heavily guarded station deep in Council territory. It took 3 months to prepare. During that time, the humans were not idle. Their spies had learned about the Council's plan. General Stone knew they had to strike first. Earth gathered every ship, every soldier, and every weapon they had. They launched the largest assault in human history. Their target was the Star Breaker station. The journey took weeks. Human ships traveled through hyperspace routes they had discovered in captured Council databases. When they emerged near the station, they found an army waiting for them. The Council had anticipated the attack. A fleet of 10,000 ships guarded the Star Breaker. General Stone looked at the enemy forces and nodded slowly. He had expected this. He addressed his troops one final time. He told them that the future of Earth depended on this battle. He told them that their children and would remember this day. He told them to make the galaxy remember why you never threatened humanity. The battle was the bloodiest in galactic history. Human ships charged directly into the enemy fleet, firing every weapon they had. Thousands died in the first minutes alone, but the humans kept advancing. They pushed through walls of plasma fire and fields of debris. They lost half their fleet before reaching the station's outer defenses. General Stone himself led the ground assault. He was 70 years old, but he fought alongside his soldiers like a man half his age. They breached the station's hull and fought through corridors filled with enemy troops. Every meter cost them lives, but they refused to stop. General Stone reached the Starbreaker's control room with only 20 soldiers remaining from his original force of 5,000. Technicians were preparing to fire the weapon. The Sun Destroyer was already charging. Stone and his men attacked with desperate fury. They killed every enemy in the room. Stone himself reached the control panel just as the weapon was about to fire. He had two choices. He could try to disable the weapon, but there was no time, or he could redirect it. He chose the second option. He changed the target from Earth's sun to the Council's capital world. Then he destroyed the controls so no one could change it back. The Starbreaker fired. A beam of impossible energy crossed the galaxy in seconds. The Council's capital sun exploded in a blaze of light that could be seen from 1,000 worlds. 12 billion Council citizens died instantly. The three ruling species lost their government and their power. General Stone watched the distant explosion through the station's windows. He felt no joy, only sadness for all the lives lost on both sides. But he had done what was necessary to save his people. The remaining Council forces surrendered immediately. They had no leadership, no capital, and no will to fight. Earth had won. The humans had gone from a primitive species to the dominant power in the galaxy in less than 5 years. General Stone returned to Earth as a hero. He was offered every honor imaginable, but he refused them all. He simply asked to retire to a small house in the mountains where he could live in peace. His warning had been proven true. Earth had warned the galaxy what would happen if they attacked. The galaxy had not listened, and now they had paid the ultimate price. The surviving Council species signed treaties with Earth. They agreed to respect human territory and never threaten humanity again. The story of Earth's victory spread to every corner of the galaxy. Other species heard about the humans and their terrifying determination. They learned an important lesson. Never underestimate the small blue planet called Earth. Never threaten the species that had crawled out of darkness and conquered the stars. Because humans do not surrender. Humans do not give up. And if you push them too far, they will burn the galaxy to protect their home.